Hello everyone! Today I'm going to show you how you can mate the opponent's king when you are up a rook. The last lesson was about how to mate with the queen. We saw that this is relatively easy. The basic principle was cooperation, make your pieces play together. Team play is the order of the day, as it were. And we will see this is basically the same when we play with the rook against the lone king. So let's assume white's to move, then he might go to this square. Basically the first move is not so important. The general philosophy should be approach the opponent's king and see what happens and then act accordingly, spontaneously. One has to be a little bit flexible, of course. Now let's say black tries to remain in the center and goes here. He could play basically a couple of other moves, but that does not change anything fundamentally. So now white cannot go here, obviously, and he could certainly go here, but maybe this move is relatively best. And of course now, as I said before, black could go back, black could go this direction, but let's say he tries to be very stubborn and not give ground. Now comes the first little thing that we have to remember. Normally it's not such a great idea to keep checking, because that will not lead you anywhere, but here is a little exception. Here you can give this check, and you can see the two kings are standing immediately opposite each other. That's why we call it the opposition in chess, and that has the effect that black now has to retreat. He can't go back on this file, he has to go, say, here. And white would just follow the king. Now we have driven him away a little bit, so it's a good idea to follow immediately. And now let's see what happens when the king attacks the rook, like this. That's actually not so good, because now white can immediately build up a barrier moving the rook here. And you can see now the rook controls the third rank and also the d file. So you can imagine that this is like the king's prison, as it were, or the king's castle. In other words, that's not such a great move. You would lose very quickly if you went there. So let's put it back. King was here. Let's say he goes this way, which is more stubborn, definitely. Then in this case, it's not such a great thing to go here, because then this king goes here again, and then we lost some time. It's better in this case to also play the rook here, because now we see black is cut off along the third rank and along the d file, as in the other example, and obviously the prison is larger, much larger, but this is only temporary. Let's say he goes here. Then a very good move would be to cut off the king again, making the prison smaller. You see, the king protects the rook, and the rook's job right now is to make this space smaller and smaller. The king can now only retreat again, let's say here. And now, of course, it's time to integrate the king again, so he would perhaps go here. King goes here. As the defender, if you are ever in the situation to have to defend such an endgame, of course you must make it difficult for your opponent. Don't go to the edge of the board immediately. Fight for your position. So white would then not give a check. He would very nicely take the opposition again, because that means, regardless, when the king goes here, I follow with my king. So we have king here, again, opposition. But I want to show what happens if the king retreats here along the e-file. As you may guess, the rook will follow. Thereby again making this space smaller and smaller. The king retreats more, and by now you will have got the hang of it. Rook follows, and the prison is now really small, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 squares all in all, and the king is really feeling uncomfortable. King goes here, let's say, and now really, whether you go here or whether you go here, that is not such a big deal. The main thing is to keep a certain strategy and follow this through. So you go here, for example, king goes here, you take the opposition, king goes here, you take the opposition again, king goes here, you take the opposition again. Yeah, so actually what we've done is the rook is like the prison warden, but now comes the king and bullies away the opposition king until we have a situation where mate is inevitable. And how does that work? Let's say the king goes here. Then this is now really easy because I would just have to take the opposition. And as you can see, given the fact that the rook, this very faithful stalwart, has all the time been protecting the 6th rank, now of course the king cannot go here, and because of the king he's so very aggressive, controlling these 3 squares, the king has only this move. That's the only move. And now comes the big moment for the rook. He will say check, which is at the same time checkmate. This is not the only way of going about it. It's just one out of so many different ways. What I suggest is practice with different setups. Practice putting the rook in a positive position, in an advantageous position. Practice when both your pieces are in relatively bad startup positions, so that you get a feeling, that you get the routine, or that you build up a certain routine. Anyway, that was how to mate when you have a rook against the lone king. Next time around, I would like to show you the pretty complex ending, or the pretty complex mating pattern when you have a knight and a bishop. This is considered to be a basic endgame, but even masters, even grandmasters, international masters, find it relatively difficult to handle from time to time, because it's pretty rare, but you have to know about it anyway. So this is for the next time. Have a great time. See you soon. Bye bye.